He's back to take his revenge. He's back, folks, and it's time for us to talk about and take a look at this week's Digimon movie, Digimon Adventures Movie 4, Revenge of Diablomon. Okay, so the opening setting up is pretty much a basic story arc of pretty much this is using the same animation that we saw back in our war game. This takes place after the events of Adventure 02, and it's set 3 months before Digimon Adventures Try. So this is where it fits in. So Revenge of Diablomon, and I will be talking about Joe's girlfriend in this that he mentioned in Try, because there's some hints of it in Revenge of Diablomon. I could be completely taking it off the rails there, but in this film you notice something. So anyway, so Revenge of Diablomon literally is what? I think it's cuter. And they started to send like emails and stuff of like pictures of Matt and Sora on a date, pictures of baby Tai across the internet. And they also been going through to the real world via cell phones. Yeah, Kuramon. So Kuramon's been all that. So during this time, Izzy rounded up all the chosen children. And they split up the Adventure 2 cast and the main cast were split up so they can, one goes into the digital world or into the web like they did in the first, into our war game, to stop Diablomon in there. So while that was happening, Davis, Ken, Yoli, Cody were all scouring around trying to capture all the Kuramon and send them to Izzy so he can then delete them. But this happens to be his trap. Once Yoli opens a gate, so many different thousand gates by accident, so she can send Ken and Davis into the digital world to help Tai and Matt. It was Diablomon's trap. They find, after the help of Hikari and Takeru, they finally been able to defeat Diablomon and destroy him that way. But then all the Kuramon that were around him and started going into all the gates that Yoli opened and going into the real world. So it became a big problem. So Yoli or Miyako decided to send a message on the big screens around Tokyo telling them that they'd be at Tokyo Bay. So all the Kuramon went there and they then started merging into a digital egg, and we see the same Digi-Egg that we saw in Adventure and our war game that always freed new Digimon, and they formed into a Digimon known as Armageddonmon. Could have been a very powerful Digimon. After he evolved, Omegamon finally escaped along with Matt and Tai and Hikari and Takeru. Finally escaped the digital world after being locked out from the area they were in while they were fighting Diablomon. They finally break free, and essentially they then started fighting them. Omegamon couldn't defeat him. His arms fell off, and they decided to use the rest of their power into a new sword. I will call it the Omega Sword because it has elements of Omegamon in there, with the Greymon's blade that comes out of Greymon's mouth in Omegamon form, with like the crotch area and that forming all the hilt and stuff into the sword for Paildramon, because in normal Imperial Dramon could not defeat him. So in Imperial Dramon Paladin mode was able to defeat him with one slash of his attack, and they all fought, and Armageddon then falls apart into breaking into all the little Kuramon that was sent from the digital world there, and they send a message to then just pretty much get everybody around there to point their cell phones at the sword to send Kuramon back into the digital world, and they then send him to Izzy to then he deals with it. Mimi then came and helped Izzy out and stuff like that. So pretty much this was a fun movie. This out of the 4 adventure movies, this is my second favourite. Along with our war game being my first, and this one being my second, because of how much it fits into the continuity very well. Hurricane Touchdown is still my least favourite out of these 4 movies. So yeah, there's a lot of little ties and Easter eggs in this film. We did see a brief cameo of a HMV sign of the building. If you don't know HMV, it's a video store in Japan and in the UK and Europe pretty much that sells DVDs, Blu-ray, CDs, video games. And we get a little bit of a scene reminiscent to the scene in our war game where the woman buys meat and Diablomon or Kuramon or whatever form he was at the time hacked the system and changed it into a very high number price. We got a little bit hint of that same woman again, but this time the meat then read Yamato Ishida and Yagami Taichi on there. That's a hint to Matt and Tai because of linkage back to our war game. So yeah, so pretty much this film was really fun. The animation definitely was continuing the style of our war game in this one. Very, very reminiscent to our war games animation here. There was a little bit more usage of CG here because there was some shots done in CG and there, but it was not used quite a lot, but really it was used for points where they needed to get a shot, but they couldn't really draw that shot. They had to use CG to get that shot. Now, in Digimon Adventure Try, Joe mentions he has a girlfriend. In this film, we see Joe giving Davis and Ken his bike to ride to get to Tokyo Bay. He forgets that they are two people and not one. So a girl, probably the same age as Joe, rode her bike past him and asked if they can borrow that bike for those two to get to Tokyo Bay. She says yes. And he looked after both of their bikes. And at the end, they were standing next to each other, helping out by getting all the Kuramon back into the digital world. And at the end of that, it looks like he gave the girl back her bike, and they parted ways. But it seems like this was one of those kind of encounters that we won't see again, and it's like one of those one-off things. Or it could have been they ended up liking each other off the bat type of situations, and they probably ended up going to the same high school. And they started talking and chatting while they were in high school because Joe was registering for high school. So this means Tai and everybody was in their junior highs because Joe is their oldest out of the chosen children. He's going into high school. So Tai, Matt, Sora, Izzy, Mimi were all going into high school, while I would say elementary school, that Miyako, Lori, and everybody else was going to elementary school, then junior high stuff, because then it was like primary school and that they were in at the moment. So it's very confusing how it works, because at the moment I will be clarifying that Joe was registering to get into high school during this film. But other than that, this film, like I said, was one of my favourite Digimon films. It literally did feel like a continuation of the series, and like I mentioned, if you ever want to watch the Digimon series in order of the first two Adventure series, I will recommend to watch them in Adventure, the film Adventure, then Season 1, then Season 2. You can put Hurricane Touchdown in between. You can literally put Hurricane Touchdown as two-part episodes, two-parter, within the main series by having it after the Digimon Emperor arc, because that's where it roughly takes place. So you could have those two as like a little filler episodes within the main series by just dumping that into the two parts, or we'll have it as the one whole film, and then it will go on to. Then you can watch the rest of Revange 2. Then you watch the Revange of Diablomon, and then Adventure Try. That's pretty much the chronological order of the Adventure series at the moment, because everything after Reunion is pretty much everything. After Adventures Try Reunion is all going to be set after that. So pretty much there. So the next week's film will be Digimon Tamers Movie 1. And the Adventures Island. I think that's what it's called. But it's Digimon Movie 5. But Digimon Tamers Movie 1. So there's two movies for Tamers, and they're both set after the series. But this was the Revenge of Diablomon. Comment down below, like always, down below in the comment section what you liked and didn't like about the Revenge of Diablomon. And I'll see you next time. This has been Kai, yet again with another Kaizo Tegu Corner. And I'll see you next time for another manga, anime, movie review, episode review, or manga chapter review. See you then. Bye bye for now.